Hey guys, it's Jessica from Peace Love Books, and today I'm here with a recommendation video for my favorite hate to love romances. This is inspired by my most recent read because there's so much tension and hate between them, and it's inspired by the fact that I just finished season 2 of Bridgerton yesterday. I need all of the hate to love romances, so I have a list for you of some of my favorite hate to love, ranging from like we don't like each other for circumstances to like we literally detest each other and want to kill each other. But they don't actually go that way because they fall in love. So I will go ahead and get to my recommendations. The first one I have that is like extreme hate to love that has so much tension and chemistry between the two characters is 5 Rounds by Nikki Castle. I read this for the Ravished by Romance book club that is happening actually tonight, the day I'm filming this, but it's already happened the day you're watching this. And this book, our two main characters, Remy and Tristan, detest each other. Tristan is the best friend of Remy's best friend, who is like her childhood best friend. They all go to the same gym together because Tristan is actually a fighter. He wants to get into like actual like career fighting, and so he works at the gym and he's got a little tension with his family for his life choices. But Remy actually works in writing, but like technical writing, and it's not her passion and she's not really happy with it. But then what happens is her landlord has to kick her out. Her landlord's family got kicked out, so the landlord was like, I need to give your apartment to them, you need to move out in like a week. And so she is frantically looking for a new apartment and finds one with a week in between when she needs to move and when she can move in. So she has to stay with her best friend, and her best friend's actually like, hey, I'm going on a business trip, you can have my room. So she is rooming with Tristan. Tristan and her best friend live together. Her best friend's a guy, but they've never felt like that chemistry or anything. Like it's like brother and sister. So it's basically like Tristan's best friend's little sister person. Like she feels like a little sister. They reference that a lot. So they hate each other. They make fun of each other. They get angry at each other. They just like cannot stand each other. But the more time they spend together, the more explosive their chemistry is, which makes them hate each other even more because they want each other and they hate the fact that they want each other. This had so much that I loved, and I was reading it on the treadmill while I was running, and it got me like so pumped and inspired because we get some of their workouts together and see some fights, and it was just amazing. I loved it. You have to read it. Another one that I want to recommend, because it doesn't come out yet, but like please go pre-order this book because it was such a good hate to love. Definitely steamy for historical, and that is The Bride Goes Rogue by Joanna Shupe. In this one, our heroine is betrothed to our hero, and it was something set up by their fathers, and she's been waiting a year to get married. And she's like, I'm gonna go into his office and I'm going to tell him like, now we're getting married, we're gonna actually sit down and talk about it because we've been betrothed. To her, it's like no question. She shows up. He works in like architecture. He like wants to build buildings for money. He's not an actual architect, like, but he's in the business, and he's a very shady character. Though he is our hero, he is not morally that great. And so she shows up and he like literally just laughs in her face. He's like, that is never gonna happen. I hate your family. I hate your father for what happened with my father, because he has a lot of animosity there that's kind of due to not knowing all the information that happened. And so he pretty much laughs in her face. She is absolutely appalled that he would laugh in her face and waste her entire last year of her life waiting for him to get married. As a woman in society, she just wasted a year of her life. And so I know that sounds drastic, but like it was like that during that time period. And so she is like, well, I would never marry you anyways, and I detest you, and I never want to see you again. So she like storms off and decides it's going to be her time to live her life. So she wants to go and have an affair. And so things go on from there. I don't want to spoil anything, but she cannot stand him now and absolutely hates his guts. He doesn't like her either. He hates her for what her father did, and things get pretty heated between them, and it is so good. And he has to grovel so much at the end. I like the grovel, though I'm not the grovel queen like Lacey is. I don't know if it would live up to her standards, but from Lacey Book Lovers, but we all know she loves a groveling hero. I think he groveled very well at the end, and it was just such a good book. I don't remember if it comes out in April or May, but go pre-order this right now. I'll always have a link down below. I always have the books I talk about. Go pre-order this because it was amazing. Okay, so then I have one that I know I've talked about a lot, but I just want to show off my new cover, so I'm going to mention it again, and that is The Culmination of Everything by Christina C. Jones. This is a special edition from Hello Lovely, and it is so pretty. The whole thing takes place in the wilderness, so our heroine is going to the wilderness, I guess, I don't know how else to like explain that, but she needs a break from things. She has lost some people in her life, and so and I think she's a doctor, and so she goes on this trip and ends up getting into an accident in the woods, and our hero is like a wildlife person. I don't even know what those people are called, but he's like a wildlife officer, I don't know, he works there, and so he comes across her and he's instantly like, of course you are here and you're getting in trouble, and there's like inexperienced people hurt themselves all the time, and he's just very upset with her, and they instantly butt heads. But they start a like enemies with benefits kind of romance, and it is so good. I love this one so much. Christina C. Jones writes Hate to Love very, very well. I have another one on this list. I love her so much. This book is just so good though. Like, I feel like the series is underrated by her. I really enjoy the first one and the second one, and I'm super happy how the Lovely Box picked her up. Then I have The Penalty Box by Odette Stone. This one is later on in the series, but it's the only one I've read, so you can definitely read it as a standalone. It's a hockey romance marriage of convenience. Our hero has friends in the mafia. He is Russian, and he is in some heat with the police. The police want him to give up his friend, and he's like, no. And so he's not actually arrested, but the hockey team is scared of his reputation, and so they're like, let's get you married. And our heroine hates him. She works in PR, and she has hated him for like the past year, and she rants to all of her friends about him, and so her friends all know about him. The people who work for the hockey player are like, why don't you end up getting married to her, because it would make sense, and she needs the money too, because he is offering to pay for the person to marry him. She really needs the money. People are after her brother for a debt he has, but he's in jail, so she has to pay this debt more so than what was owed, and so she's in a very bad situation, and so she ends up agreeing because she really needs the money, even though she absolutely hates him, and it gets so good. Marriage of convenience in a contemporary setting with a hockey player. I love this one, and we had a little bit of a mystery going on because someone was like messing with her house, and I just really liked it, so check it out. Then we have Under One Roof by Ellie Hazelwood. This one I really enjoyed. It's a novella. It is an audiobook, and I don't know if they are released yet as ebooks, but I'm pretty sure it's only on audio right now. I got mine through my library, and this one was really fun. It was we both inherited this house from someone. He was a relative of them. She worked with them, and they have to live together. And he, at first, when they meet, I feel like he was like, ooh, who is this? And then he's like, you're living in my house, and he gets very angry, and so they have to live together, and they hate living together. They don't like each other. But then things slowly start to turn around with them, and then it kind of gets awkward when they're like dating other people, and if they brought them back to the house, what does that mean? And I just thought it was really cute, really short and fun. Definitely a really good hate to love roommates romance again. I feel like a roommate romance video is what I need to do because I just love that trope. Then a hate to love because their families are enemies is A Reckless Match by Kate Bateman. I love Kate Bateman so much, and this one was a lot of fun. These two families have been feuding for a long time, and they're feuding over this land, and every year they have to meet on this day at a specific place, or else the person who is not there loses the land to the other family. So our hero and heroine, it's their turn to meet this year. It almost looks like one of them's not going to show up, and then they do, but then they get lost in like the land, like they go exploring. I'm pretty sure our heroine's really into archaeology, and that's why she was going around, but then they get stuck in like these caves together, and they have a lot of animosity between each other and play games with each other because our heroine's family actually really needs money. So there's this, I don't know if it's a dictionary, there's some book that they have one half of and like one volume of, and his family has another volume of, and he like plays games with her of how she can get it because they want to auction it off, and then he is gonna buy it, and like he loves to play games with her, and I just thought it was a really fun take on a rival family with enemies. I really enjoyed this one. You can't go wrong with Kate Bateman, and I really do love a good let's explore these caves and get stuck together romance, so really good. Then there's Pulling Devils by Christina C. Jones, which is a doctor-nurse romance. She is working on her license to be like a higher up nurse. I don't know the technology, but she has to work under the doctors, and she's used to the doctors really dismissing the nurses. Our hero's a doctor. He's really mean to her, like literally from the moment that they meet, but he's mean to her because he likes her. It's annoying, but I really liked it in this book, and they really butt heads but have insane chemistry, and I really loved the doctor-nurse hospital setting and how she just wanted to be treated with respect because she is very intelligent and really on her way up at her job, and it was a lot of fun. I really like this one. I know this other one I talk about a lot, but it is such a good hate to love, and that is Waking Olivia by Elizabeth O'Rourke. This one, she has had a lot of trauma in her life, so she sleep runs, which leaves her exhausted during the day and she can't help it. It puts her in dangerous situations and she has to transfer to a new school because she also has a really bad temper, and our hero is the coach and he instantly butts heads with her. He is not taking her crap. He doesn't have a good opinion of her when she first comes on the team, but he slowly gets to learn what's happening with her, where her trauma stems from, helping her overcome her exhaustion and sleep running, and they fall for each other. She is in her early 20s and he is like early mid-20s. So there's only like a 3-year age gap between them. It's not super taboo even though it's coach athlete, but I love this so much. One of my favorite books of the year so far. Highly recommend. Another one that I've been talking about quite a bit is Mafia Mistress by Mila Finelli. This one is hate to love because he pretty much forces her to come to Italy to marry his son. He is a mafia leader and her father and him struck a deal where she has to go to Italy to marry his son. And notice I'm saying a lot about the dad because he is the love interest. So the heroine meets the son. They get along really well. They're both 18 and then she can't stay away from the dad. So she actually really hates him and tries to escape multiple times. She just does not want to stay in the situation. She's determined to run away. She already defied expectations as the daughter of someone in the mafia because she had a boyfriend, she snuck out a lot, and now she has no choice but to stay in Italy with this man and falls for him. So I really enjoyed this. This is book 1. Know that going in. It does end on a cliffhanger, so I'm excited to read book 2, but I just love a good I hate you because you kidnapping romance, and that's what this is. Then I have The Wrong Bride, and this one is so much fun. It's another kidnapping one, but for a reason. If you can have a reason to kidnap someone. So our hero is the laird of a clan and he has been promised to marry this woman for a very long time and they are like refusing to like put it through. So he decides to go and kidnap her so that they can finally get married because his clan needs a lot more money. So they need her monetary stuff that's going to come with her being his wife. And so he goes and kidnaps her. The problem is that she has the same name as her cousin. He is supposed to kidnap the cousin, but he kidnaps her instead. And it turns out that her aunt and uncle put her in that room for a reason, but he takes her and she constantly is like, I'm not the right person, you have kidnapped the wrong person, and he hates her because she is lying about who she is and because they have refused to have this marriage of convenience come to term. He's like, you are ruining my clan's life, like we need this to happen, you promise. And so he really doesn't like her in that aspect, and she hates him because he kidnapped her and it's all a mistake. And so it was so much fun. I loved how they fell for each other and how she helped change things with his clan, especially with the legacy his dad left behind because his dad was not a good person. It was just a really fun Highlander romance that I'd definitely recommend picking up as a historical. Then I have Falls Boys by Penelope Douglas. This one is definitely a hate to love because the hero and the heroine come from very opposite sides of the tracks. They really butt heads when they first meet. She is actually trying to get money out of his cousin, I think, and he steps in and that's like the whole night. Turns out our heroine is working for some bad people because she has to. She has been bouncing around from home to home, foster homes, back to her birth mom's home and with her siblings there. She's trying to do everything she can to protect her siblings. She dropped out of high school. She needs money, and so she works for some bad people and she gets money from people for those bad people. And that's how she meets the hero. The hero is the son of the people from the Bully series, which I loved seeing all of those characters. You do not have to read the previous series to read this series, but I think you get a lot more out of it if you do read it. But I really enjoyed how they both have their responsibilities and how they're trying to learn about each other and addressing the misconceptions they had about each other, and it definitely gave me Corrupt vibes as well as the Fall Away series vibes, so I would definitely recommend checking this out, especially if you love Penelope Douglas. And the last one I have is a very tame hate to love, but that is The Royals Next Door by Karina Halley. This one is just like, I am a grump and I don't like you because the heroine is this teacher and she lives with her mother in this cottage that is pretty much like, it used to be part of this giant estate, but it's now like its own place, and the royals rent this giant estate. And so the bodyguard sees her trying to come on the property and he is like, who are you? What are you trying to do? You can't be here. And she's like, I live here. And he's always around, and it's kind of like he's very abrasive at first, and so that's why I'm putting it here as a hate to love, but that quickly just crumbles away and he's actually like finds ways to be around her more, and it was a very, very sweet romance. I really enjoy this one and I wish more people picked it up. And those are my recommendations for hate to love romances. Let me know if you have any other recommendations. I would love to hear because this is one of my favorite tropes, and I've done this video a couple times, so I'll link my other ones down below if you want to watch them. And that's all I have. As always, thank you so much for watching and have a good day. Bye.